Hi everyone, welcome to the first Khushwant Singh Literary Festival which has gone digital. You saw that video which gave you a feel of the Khushwant Singh Lit Fest. But before I carry on, I'd like to give you a little bit of feel of Kasoli and how the Lit Fest began. 9 years ago, when we were holidaying in Kasoli, Kasoli is only about an hour and a half's drive from Chandigarh, 6,000 feet up in the Himalayas. And that's where my father, Khushwant Singh, had his home and where he did much of his writings. Well, about 9 years ago, we were talking about this, and my father was still alive. And there was a very far-sighted brigadier there, Brigadier Anant Narayanan, who's now a general. And he and we got together and he said, why don't you have a lit fest in Kasoli? So that's how the idea began. And we decided to call it the Khushwant Singh Literary Festival, KSLF. And we decided that we would invite speakers, intellectuals, celebrities from all over, and it would embody some of the values and concerns and passions that my father held. And these included the education of the girl child, the concern for the environment, preserving the environment, and it was also dedicated to the Indian soldier. Kasoli, as you know, is a military cantonment. And after Brigadier Anant Narayan, every brigadier has supported us in holding the Lit Fest. And the present brigadier, Naveen Mahajan, said, why don't you have it again here? But it was not possible, given the pandemic. So the theme of the Literary Festival is a new life in this current pandemic. And you've got an array of speakers coming. I should also add that one of the great qualities that my father had was that he was a great communicator, and he could converse with the high and the low. As Kipling put it, he could walk with kings, yet had the common touch. Another quality that he had was his sense of humor, which Bhatti, I think, might emit from him. So let me now pass you on to Bachchi, who will say, I think, something more about my father. I think she knew my father even better than I did, frankly. Over to you, Bachchi.
Thank you very much, Rahul and Nilufer, for asking me to introduce this Lit Fest. Because, I have been here from the very seeding, and I have seen this Lit Fest blossom into something that is really special. And I feel, you said it's the first digital space, but I am just imagining the amphitheater of the Himalayas and us sitting there with that billowing curtain and the breeze and the devdars and that whole ambiance that was there of the Lit Fest. Now, you've said that I know your father better than you, but I wouldn't presume to know Khushwant Singh better than his son. But I can say with a degree of certainty that certainly Khushwant Singh was responsible for my professional upbringing. Because I joined the weekly as a trainee way back in 1969, just when he shuffled into the Illustrated Weekly of India office as the editor. And over the next 8 years, I can say with complete truth, not because it is this Lit Fest, I've said it on many occasions, that I learned everything I know about journalism at the Illustrated Weekly. I will not say at the feet of Khushwant Singh, because that is not the kind of equation that he wanted with anyone. In fact, he would always say when we used to write our blurbs, that if you don't say Khushwant Singh on Indira Gandhi, please do not say that. Say Khushwant Singh with Indira Gandhi. Now, the thing is that I also hope that I've absorbed the one mantra which he taught us by example. He never dinned it into us, but it was something that was on view every single day. And that was that take your work very seriously. Don't take yourself too seriously. And I think that was really the measure of the man. So Khushwant Singh was really the iconoclast non-pareil. But he had very little to do with the first letter of that word, which is I. He had absolutely no ego. He wouldn't mind if we as a trainee would, cut his copy, or he would tell us to go and cut his copy. This was at a time when editors would probably murder you if you dare even suggest that, you could change a word of his. And I think, and the beauty of it was that he was all this, despite being a world authority on Sikhism, despite being, this best-selling novelist at a time when Indian writers in English were not the prolific breed that they are today. And more than that he had created this absolutely cutting-edge illustrated weekly. And he spoke so strongly and so succinctly, as Rahul said, about so many things that the minute he walked up, to the dais, you could feel this frisson through the audience, because people who had been sitting, getting bored and listless, would all be sitting up to see what Khushwant Singh had to say. And I think, therefore, that I think today more than ever, we need this courageous voice of his. I mean, I cannot tell you how much I miss his voice, because there is such a diminishing breed of people who are willing to call truth to power. He was the promoter of this whole Ganga Jamna Tehzeeb, which is India. Today we are reducing it to a little narrow nalla, and I think he would have stood up and really spoken up against this. So I think that, the theme of this LitFest, a new life, is something that he would have worked for in many more ways than maybe even you will be able to cover at the LitFest. So another mark of the man was his generosity of spirit. And I can say this with complete truth. And who better then to start this LitFest with somebody and to talk on the art and the science of giving than Sudha Murty? Because she has perfected it to an art, and she has brought it to the science, her scientific temper, because she is, after all, a trained engineer. And she has brought the scientific temper to institutionalize the art of giving. Now, Sudha has given deep and wide. Through her Emphasis Foundation, she has not overseen, but certainly helped to rebuild lives which had been shattered in 16 national disasters that we've had in the last 24 years. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sudha, maybe more. And this is what she did. But I think more than this material rebuilding, I think she has rebuilt humanity. She has rebuilt humanity through her books. This corpus of books that she writes with such proficiency and such prolific, even better than you, even more prolific than you, Chetan, if I may say so. And that's really saying for something. And, and through that, she has taught us how to be better human beings. And she has, when I say us, I'm talking of the world, because these books have been translated into all the major languages of the world. In conversation with her is Chetan, who started off as a brat, but has now, I think, matured quite a bit. He's one of those bankers who turned into novelists. He's written 11 blockbuster books, 8 of which are novels, and 5 of which have been turned into movies. You must have seen all of them. But personally, I think I'm a bigger fan of his columns, because there he writes with such, he really then, really reminds me of Khushwant Singh, because he writes with, with clarity, he writes to the point, and he writes incisively. So now, Chetan, over to you and Sudha.
Okay. Thank you guys for the wonderful introduction. I would be very happy if you just keep introducing us through the number. But thank you. And comparisons with Sir Khushwant Singh is, I'm really humbled. I don't think I'm anywhere close to his body of work, but if in any way I have tried to do the same, yes, he's definitely been an inspiration. And his was the only column I used to read when I was a child, because that's the only column I understood. So definitely there's a reference. And good evening, Sudha ma'am. How are you?
I'm fine, Chetan. Namaste.
Okay, so we are well away from the mountains, aren't we?
Yeah.
Where are you right now?
Right now, Bangalore. I have not gone out of the house in 7 months.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
really? I'm in
because of
Singapore.
my age.
Yeah. But do you have a balcony and all at least? You have some.
Yeah, I have, and through telephone I do work every day, 7 to 8 hours, on
7 to 8 hours
pandemic.
on the phone.
Yeah,
And we tell young people not to use the phone much. Okay.
yeah, but landline.
Landline.
Yeah, I
7
have a
hours
line.
on landline.
Yeah,
Wow. I had
because our pandemic, we have built a hospital. We have ambulance. We have to send people for testing, admission, COVID. Surrounded by all COVID work.
okay. That's excellent. That you're doing it, but you don't believe in like smartphones or
No,
like.
I do have smartphones, but it's good to have used landlines many times. Not all the time smartphones. I have three phones with me, and one of them is landline.
Okay. For the young people watching this, you can Google what is a landline. There,
That's true. That is
that's
true.
there really might be people here who have
Uh,
never been. And just to give some context to people, I have uh, last time I think together, Sudha ma'am and I have done a
5 years
session
back, I think. 4 5 years.
2016, yeah, 4 years
16, 4 years back. Huh.
in the Bangalore Literature Festival where
Yeah,
the tables were turned sort of because she was interviewing me on my book, which is
yeah.
incredible. That so when a chance came to do the other way, I think I would never have missed it. Of course, Holly would have been better, but okay. I'm in hot Singapore. You're in hot Bangalore. What?
Oh, you're in Singapore. Okay.
Yes. So today the focus, of course, we can talk about anything, but the focus is, of course, on philanthropy and, of course, on your book that I have 3,000 Stitches, which I must say I've not finished it, but I have been reading it, and it's again very easy to read. Not a very big book, only 180, 90 pages, right? It's not a very
Yeah.
yeah, and it's 3,000. It's basically starts off with your journey into philanthropy, which is basically with the Devdasis. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how you started. So I have actually not just on the book. I have so many questions for you, and I'm sure we'll have questions popping in on the chats as well, guys. If you have questions, technology allows you to just put it in the chat. I think so, and the people are going to help make those questions reach us. But I think in one of the first chapters only, you talk about giving money versus giving your own effort or labor or attention or time, and when it comes to philanthropy, you say there is a difference. I mean, one is you just write a check, which is what you could easily do, right? But you actually choose to be involved in the actual philanthropic effort. And what is the difference, and why do you think it's important to be involved in it, not just cut a check?
The real reason is you will not understand people if you don't get involved. For example, we sit down in AC room and make decision what we should do the plans or projections, etc. Or the child should have vernacular language education or English medium, etc. But if you really go on the spot, work with them, then you realize what are their aspirations. We should never underestimate that we know everything and they do not know. They also know their priority. What they want. You should understand. I learned a lot more about my country through mixing with people, staying with them, eating with them, and different tribes. I must have eaten in everyone's house in so many places. So that taught me what exactly is poverty. Poverty means helplessness. It removes your courage, and then one can improve. And education is the only key, and how you can use the key. So all these and the Devadasis I worked. My father told me, if you could change 10 Devadasis in your life, I'll be very proud that I gave birth to a daughter who could do this work of changing 10 people. But I took 18 years to change 3,000 people. And what I felt at that moment standing on the podium when 5,000 of them came, 3,000 Devadasis and their children, their friends, everything. And I'm like you, I'm an extempore speaker, and I could not even talk because when I saw their face, I know what struggle they underwent, and all this experience made me actually very human, very compassionate, and I thank them. They gave me a chance to help or serve my country. So I always believe in participating, working with the poorest of the poor people in India.
Okay, that's incredible that you do that, and you know. But in the same chapter, I saw a line in where this dialogue. You say, "Abhay, now it's somebody who said you first work for 8 months and then we'll see whether you're fit for this social work." And you say, "Now you know how hard social work is. It takes extreme commitment and persistence
Yes.
to keep going. You can go back to Delhi with the satisfaction of making a difference to so many lives. You're a good human being, and I'm sure this experience will help you better." So, what my point was that if you're doing social work and you're going there to help people, I am helping someone. But why does it take commitment and persistence to just help someone? I mean, it should be easy to help people, right? I mean, why is it hard to help people?
No, it's easy to help to start, but if you want to get the correct results, you have to work very hard. Like you give money, okay? Some child is there, like Devdasi, I can give example. You give money. After 2 years, what happens? You give money for a school to buy computers, but after 2 years, you go and see whether they have been taught properly, the children have learned properly. If you want to see the results, then you have to help continuously. You have to help continuously monitor it, get the results, analyze it, and there my science of or my engineering background helps me a lot. I'll tell you a very funny incident. Once I went for a music session about 20 years or 15 years back, I won't remember. Two women were sitting and they were discussing. The first one said, "My daughter is really bad, useless, but I want to get her married." And the second one gave her example, okay, let her join an NGO, she has a job that she can get married and all. Then the first one said, "Is it that easy?" She said, "Look, Narayan Murthy has worked very hard. His wife does not have brain, and she goes and works for an NGO, and she is quite well known. When Sudha Murty can do this one, anybody can do." Then I just tapped her back and said, "Do you know Sudha Murty?" She said, "Yeah, yeah, we know her. When did you meet her last?" "Oh, today morning." I said, "I'm Sudha Murty." They said, "Oh, how much you have changed from morning to evening?" I told them, "Look, you can tell me woman with no brain and all, I accept it because it's the way you look at it. But don't look down upon social work. It requires 100% commitment. Like, I travel 20 days in a month. And then I will be in the deep forest or maybe in the tribal area. I don't know where I will be depending on my work. Unless you give that commitment, you cannot see the results. So please understand, if you have great compassion and you should understand their difficulties and help in that direction, and you want to get the results, you get involved. And that means you have to give your time. And many people who do not want to give time, so they won't get the correct results.
Okay, that's interesting. You know, I some people may say, okay, you are doing social work. It's good that you're doing it, but aren't you in a way making up for a government that it's not doing its job? Like, I mean, when you do it, why shouldn't the government be taking more care of this? Because if taking care of people, I mean, it's always a tough one, right? For example, in Corona, a lot of migrant labor was walking back, and then people were helping them. But at the same time, if you say this means like, okay, now everybody should do philanthropy and help them, in some ways, aren't we also getting the government off the hook? Because the government also is supposed to do some things, right? That's why we elect a government. That's welfare is a big part of their goal. So how do you balance that? Like, okay, why should me? I'm a taxpayer. I paid my taxes, and now the government can help them. Why should I do it personally? I'm devil's advocate argument here.
Yeah, many people have asked me that. But for example, in COVID, we have built and the hospital was there, but we spent altogether we spent 150 crore rupees. But we built a hospital, all the equipment, all the beds, everything we done for 250 people. Ours is a large country with may not be large country, large population. And if you help, and what I do is probably not in 1 millionth of the difficulties what we have. So I always look at this look, whatever I can do, let me do. Instead of waiting for someone to do, or is it my duty or not duty, I don't worry. I feel, look, here are the people, and if I go on waiting, somebody should do. They may or survive, may not survive. Like in migrant workers, we made 100,000 ration kits, 1 lakh ration kits, and we went on distributing it. In some places, we had our own kitchen. So I look at this. Look, ours is a large populated country, and all of us should do whatever we can do. Government also does, or they can do. Together, we should survive. So I believe in much more like, Bahujana Sukhaya. Okay, that's what I believe, that you should participate and you should also do. It's not just paying a tax at the end of it. You should participate in doing all these things, whatever you can. I never say you have to do 100 crore, 10 crore, 10 lakhs. You 10 rupee, yatha shakti. It's always nice.
Yeah, that. Okay.
That is my way of looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll tell you, I have done one other session on philanthropy with Bill Gates when he came to India, and I asked him a similar question. I said, is this not kind of taking the government's job away? And he said, listen, apart from what you said, similar things what you said, but he also said that some things will never make a return in the private, like, it'll never be worthwhile for anyone to do, because it doesn't give a good return. So the private sector will never do it. Like certain hospitals will never get made because they will never make money. It's just the way it is. And the government also will prioritize. They have limited resources. They may do it, they may not do it. And the problem is now. People are suffering now. So you can say at a broad level, yes, the government should do it. But if the government is not doing it or is delayed, and the private sector will never do it, so that means nobody will ever do it. So
actually, we have built roads. We have built roads where there are no roads at all. In a forest, connecting road. No day government will do that one, because there will be about 50 people or 200 people in that village. Number of votes will be maybe 100. Okay. And these are also poor people. They will not go to the Tahsildar office saying the dharna and all. They aren't that kind, because they are coolies. They have to work from morning to evening. If we don't make roads, nobody will make. And particularly in rainy season, they can't even go to a doctor. They can't even go to main road and take a bus or something and go to a doctor, or a cycle and go to a doctor. Who will do this kind of work? Nobody will do. And I feel more, by and large, it's nice to help, because a part of, it's a part of life, I think. And you really don't need that much money actually in real life to be happy. That's what I always believed in.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Because, there is a different kinds of wealthy people. And I mean, God's grace, you are very wealthy, and that's a good thing. But there are wealthy people who do big weddings, fly down movie stars, palaces. I'm not going to take any names. Many people do it, but we've seen it. The whole of India has seen it. Crazy weddings, wedding cards that cost like as much as a small car. You've never felt like doing that, and why do you think you're different?
I don't know, different or not. I really feel it's a waste of money. To be happy in life with your wife or your husband, you require great understanding. And when you do not have that, what is the use of making this big wedding? For whom you want to impress?
I don't know.
Okay. So I feel
the whole world.
Let the world, people see, tell me.
Yeah.
The first person who found out from gehu you can grind, from wheat you can grind and make chapati or roti, we don't know. From rice you can boil and make rice to eat, we do not know. So whatever we do, the next generation will not remember. Or after 100 years, people don't remember. We should never work. That's the way I look at it. We should never work. Somebody should remember your great work or sacrifices, nothing. I want to work so that other people should be happy. I see the happiness or the twinkle in their eyes. I feel nice. Thank you, God, I say. I used to always wonder, because I'm a daughter of a doctor. I'm not from a rich family. When I was married to my husband, he was unemployed. So I was not married to a big man as well. Money came in between to me. And I used to ask this question to myself: why did money? There are many people who are much more hard work than us. There are many people who have opened big companies, but why this money came to us? And I used to ask this question to myself: what is the real reason? When I worked with 3,000 Devdasis, I got the answer. I said, probably this was the reason that money was given to us, so that we can help these people who will never ever be known to the world how much they suffered. And now they have become quite strong. They have their own union. They are demand from the government their pension should be given. Then they have made self-help group. When I look at it, I feel it's worthy of spending money on that than a diamond necklace, which is of no use in real life.
Kanjivaram sarees?
No, it's of no use. You should have some. I will never say no. You should have some. But more than that, you don't require it. It is more in the mind. More the money, more happiness is more in the mind.
Yes. And I think those are wonderful thoughts and lessons for people who are listening, because we often lose that perspective,
You do require money. I'm not Bhagwan Buddha. We do require money to have a house, medical facilities, some money, children's education, all those. Okay? But how much you want is your line. How much you want to draw. But more than that, it's of no use. And Upanishad talks.
This is why I married into a South Indian family.
I've seen two states, and I told my daughter is a South Indian. My son-in-law is a Punjabi. I said, Rishi weds Akshata. I told two states.
Is this that Rishi? The famous Rishi?
Yeah. He's a Punjabi. He's a Lahore Punjabi.
Why don't you tell who this Rishi is to people?
Rishi is my son-in-law.
And what does he do?
Rishi is supposed Rishi is a finance minister in UK. When he called me and said he's Exchequer, Chancellor of Exchequer, I said, Rishi, tell me in Indian English, okay? Finance minister.
Yeah.
And so I gave that movie to him as a gift. And the book also.
We Punjabis, if we had a finance minister in our family, we would be like, you would be hearing the Lal Batti siren.
He doesn't have Lal Batti.
And you are so modest that, the son-in-law Rishi jo hai,
वो तो पंजाबी है, so he married to South Indian girl.
Yeah, he's a more achieving Punjabi than me. But I mean, that's really awesome. And what about one of the other things I'm very fascinated about, and I think it's coming from the last session we did, which was on my book One Indian Girl, which is a book on a girl and feminism, if you remember.
Yeah.
And I as a man, I will never claim that I understand feminism. I try, but women can. But I found your brand. You never claimed to be a feminist as such, but I think you are, and I find your kind of feminism very interesting. And I think, what do you think? What is feminism to you, and what is your feminism? Because at some level you're very traditional as well, but I think deep down you're a very staunch feminist as well. So
that's true. I will tell you, right from my childhood, I used to think what is this and what is not this. For example, I joined engineering college when I was 17, where there was not a single girl in the university. I was the only girl. That's the reason How to Beat Boys I have written there. There was no ladies' toilet. But I loved application science. So everyone told me, don't join, it's not good. And I come from a small community known as the Brahmins, Madhwa Brahmins from northern part of Karnataka. So I said, no, I'm going to do. And it was extremely hard. People will make comments. My elders were worried that I will not get a boy. They were not knowing that there existed Narayan Murthy across the river. I'm on one side of the river, Murthy the other side of the river. And the whole society used to look down upon my father. The girl doesn't have a brain, but look at her father, doesn't have another brain. He's sending his daughter to male-dominating engineering. But I never ever felt I should not do because people talk. Because I felt if it is legally, ethically right, then I must do that. This is my way of thinking throughout my life. And that has led to many something very unusual situations. I landed up. I joined engineering college. Then I bobbed my hair when I was young. And in Hubli, somebody in a small town, when you bob your hair, so you ask the address of Dr. Kulkarni. I was Miss Kulkarni before my marriage. Where is Dr. Kulkarni's house? Oh, the girl who bobbed her hair, the third house from here. It became my host address, the girl who bobbed her hair. It was unheard in my community, a girl who will cut her hair, and how she can walk on the streets with her hair shoulder length. Okay, it was not even a boycott, it was a shoulder length. Then I did engineering, masters in computer science, and people said, don't join computer science, you know, you will never get a job. You can use only calculator, is more than enough. You should do civil, you know, a lot of money will be there. And all. I said, no, I will do first batch of computer science. That's because I believed it's a new science and I must learn whether I'll get a job or not is different. Then I'll end up marrying Narayan Murthy with no job, with no security, nothing, because I felt he is a good man with a good value system and he reads a lot. I know I have a weakness for reading. I said, I can talk to him on books and I want to marry him. And then comes, because I believed in it, that I should marry someone who has a similar kind of taste than money. Then Murthy comes one fine day in July and he says, I want to quit my job and start Infosys. And he said, the reason is it is going to be a revolution in India. I don't know the revolution or not, but I believed my husband is starting something new. And as a wife, I must support because he's not doing anything illegal. He's doing everything legal, ethical. And I gave my 10,000 rupees, whatever I have. And when my daughter woke me up saying that, Amma, you are 45 years old. What is your aim in life? Is it glamour, money, education, all those? Or if you don't do social work, then nobody can do. Akshata woke me up and I started Infosys Foundation. So in my life, I have done which I believed as long as legally, ethically right. For example, I come from a traditional family where everybody should wear a Mangal Sutra after marriage. So I told Mr. Murthy when I got married to him, I have some conditions. I will not wear Mangal Sutra. Why should I show my marital status? He said, it is left to you. Okay. So when I did not wear, everybody was aghast. He said, how can ever a Brahmin girl not wearing Mangal Sutra? But I believed that it is not necessary to show your marital status. And again, I started wearing when I started working with Devdasis, because if I don't wear, they say this one is a runaway lady, so she has a problem, and they have to identify me, with the common people. And my father said, you wear a Mangal Sutra, tie your hair, and wear a sari, you become one of those normal people to start your social work. So I always have done in life which I believed, which is right, not by any pressure of the society or of the family or of anybody. And Mr. Murthy never puts his pressure because he knows, what I think legally, ethically right, I will do.
Okay, that's incredible. And I think let me now, there are some questions coming in. Oh, wait, in the chat, let me ask. Okay, there's this lady called Chetna Avalani. She says, when did you first experience the joy of giving? The first time?
Maybe at the age of 6, 7 or 8.
Okay, what was that?
I was brought up in a village. My grandparents used to stay. So there every day when someone comes, we used to give them rice, 3 measures of rice. I was in a red rice granary on that. So my grandfather said, okay, take the rice, give it to this fellow, without expecting anything. But my own charity I did when I was 12. In 1962, there was a war with China. And there was a drive that, you should give something to the Prime Minister or some fund or something. I was in a school and I was listening to that lecture and I felt I had a ring. My grandmother gave me one gold ring. And I felt it, why can't I give? I did not have anything. In those days, there was no pocket money, nothing like that. Go to school and come back, okay? Have 3 meals a day. And then I took away my ring. And for a minute, I thought, what Nani will feel, what my mother will tell. Then I said, no. When it is on my finger, it's mine. I removed it and put it in the box. I was 12 years old.
Wow, that is incredible. Definitely. Wow, people are just sending so much praise. Okay, another question. When should one start giving in life? Most wait till mid-40s or 50s. So
it depends on yourself, actually. It depends on circumstances, your mindset, the upbringing, the way, your sensitivity. I can't draw a line and it's like this, like an engineering, first 20, next 20, next 20. But, if you want to head an NGO, I feel you should be around 40, 45. Because by that time you have seen many plus, many minus, you can understand people, and you'll be little more mature. But philanthropy doesn't mean that you have to become an NGO head. You can start in a very young age, because I've seen in Infosys, our youngsters, when they get married, they say, ma'am, my wife does not want this model car, so that they leave the chavi on my table and go. I sell it and take the money. Okay, so many things people give. I have seen the next generation, like your generation, is much more magnanimous, much more giving, and they have better way of giving than our generation.
Nice. Actually, I am going to, since you mentioned NGOs, I'm going to ask you some questions just mildly controversial, but I don't think you're shied away from any question ever.
No. I don't prepare as well.
Speaking of NGOs, recently we've seen sometimes a lot of NGOs are controversial. They're asked to shut down. Their accounts are frozen. Many NGOs are there, but some say, like some high-profile ones, have been asked to shut operations and face difficulties, especially the international ones. Do you think that is legitimate? I mean, what is really going on there? I don't fully understand it. And since you are in that space a little bit, maybe you can tell us.
See, I have never worked with international NGO. Mine is always a local NGO, Indian NGO, and my finance is done by our foundation gets money from Infosys Foundation. So I really cannot comment all those NGOs where international, what are the rules, what form they could bring, how many people they could help, and what kind of help they were doing. I don't have experience on that, so I will not be able to tell that.
Okay, fair enough. Speaking of, like you said, you get money from the Infosys Foundation, you work with local NGOs. Sometimes people say, like, okay, I want to give to charity, but I'm scared. And I have asked this question to Bill Gates also. So I will tell you what he told me later, but I'll want to hear your answer first. I'm scared that I'll give money and there'll be some corruption. Someone will steal some of it. The beneficiary, it will not benefit the people who really need it. Some middleman will take it. Some NGO will just pocket it. So therefore, they feel bad. They feel they'll get ripped off even doing charity. Now you are putting hundreds of crores to work. What do you think? How do you deal with that emotion or that feeling?
See what happens. Many NGOs have overheads up to 25%. Okay, administration charges, and people get scared. And I genuinely agree with them. It's a genuine case. But there are some NGOs who, we rate NGOs in our office. We also work with many NGOs. Someone is A+, someone is A, someone is B+, someone is B, someone is C. So many people would like to give money. I will tell them, don't give it to me, because we get 400 crore from Infosys. Don't give it to us. I will give you the list of the NGOs who are really, because there is like Abhay in 3000 Stitches. He is a A+ NGO person. Okay, he's a A+. So I'll direct them. Suppose like the Ramakrishna Ashram, which is doing a great work in Arunachal Pradesh, Alok. I went up to the last point and I checked their work. There are some NGOs, they do extraordinary good work. And if somebody asks me, I will direct them to that. But most of the time, you should check and give. Check and give. If the overheads are high, you should be very careful. See, in the Infosys Foundation, our overheads are negative. The reason is, I make a procedure that, if you come to our office, you get it in a throwaway cups. Okay, we don't give you China and such things. We don't spend money. We don't spend money on unnecessary things. In India, I always travel by economy class. So I said every cent matters. A penny saved is a penny got. And if NGOs have that kind of attitude, then only they can do well. Or people who really feel they want to give, then they should approach a good NGOs and they should give, they will be used properly.
Wow. I'm sorry. You travel economy class?
Yeah, all travel in India, unless my students, I used to teach in college, they upgrade me to business. I always travel by economy. International, I travel with my own money, first class.
Yes.
Off late.
Off late, no, you should really pamper yourself, I feel, but
No, I become old, so I require to sleep. But when I was young, I always went by economy. Now, international first class, domestic all economy, unless somebody upgrades me.
uh, I am really, yeah, okay. And okay, and you don't have your own plane, I'm imagining.
No, why? Why should I have? One whole lot of planes are available. Why should I have?
Wow, I'm really very humbled. I don't have a plane either. I can't even afford one. But
Even though one
I
can afford,
when someone
you
makes
don't
me,
require it. You don't require it actually.
well, right now in COVID, we really don't require it. And the other day I was with some friends and they said, "Do you know I have a boarding pass?" I'm like, "What's a boarding pass? What is a boarding pass? We've forgotten what a boarding pass looks like
Yeah, yeah.
because of the COVID." So I asked this to, like I told you, this question I asked Bill Gates also, and asked him, how do you feel when you are putting so much money in so many different countries? You know, some of it is going to get stolen, right? And he said, it's like any investment I make. When I invest in a business, in a startup, some will do really well and some will not do well and some may even close down. So when I do charity, I see my return is the impact on people. Some money I give will give a lot of impact to people. Some money will get like modest return. Some money will not reach people, and some may be a very bad idea that I gave. And that doesn't mean I don't do it. That doesn't mean I don't invest. If the overall the money that I'm spending is leading to something good, even if we try, they also check, they also audit. But if we try our best to check whether they are good people or not, and even then I know there will be some leakage of my charity money. But it's like when I make an investment, some investments go bad, some charity money goes bad. But that doesn't mean I stop doing it. So that's what we said.
Because Bill Gates is an entrepreneur and he invests lost a lot of money. Whereas I really mind if it goes 10 rupees here and there, So
My God.
no, I'm very particular about it. So people call me stingy when it comes to
Yeah.
Infosys Foundation, because I will see that our overheads are negative. Okay, I will not spend on anything. Leftover things I bring and I do. Because we have only 400 crores. That's a big money for me. And I want every paisa return. For example, all education I get return up to 90-95%. I measure them. So I think I can tell you in my last 25 years, I don't think people have tried to cheat and all, but maybe out of thousands of projects, maybe not more than 5 or 10 I must have been duped, but not that's also a small amount of money, not much.
Yeah. Have you ever thought of pulling in people from Infosys? Like, you're very, like, one of the things is that they are very smart people. Like, and so some of it is just money, but some of it is just ideas and innovation. How do you do that? Because,
No, there are two ways. One is I always talk to youngsters and different area, different people. And what we can incorporate in Infosys Foundation, we do that. Suppose we can't do that, then I do my personal foundation. I mean, personal money. For example, Pawan Ahluwalia once told me about classical library in Harvard, and I really like that idea. And then I discussed with my son, but from foundation, Infosys Foundation, we could not do that one due to our own strategies, etc. Because surviving is very important in Infosys Foundation. So I told Rohan, look, this is very important that our great literature of India will be wasted next 100 years. And then we started Murty Classical Library. That is idea I got a youngster like Pawan Ahluwalia. It was his idea he read somewhere and he told me. So I am always in touch with youngsters like you people because, I'm the old one. Old people get energy from talking to youngsters. So I get energy from you people, new ideas. Similarly, we are always open to new ideas. Otherwise, you will be doing the same thing, building a toilet, building a dharmashala, giving the food, etc. But we require to impact in a different way as well. So last 2 years, we did Arohan Dil Se, a new kind of competition where people should come with a new innovation. We gave the first prize 40 lakhs, 30 lakhs, 20 lakhs. We spent money on that, and people were given 3 weeks incubation period in IIT Hyderabad. So one person, some Mr. Khurana from Punjab, a young boy, some 25 years old boy, he got 20-30 lakhs. Then one boy from Jaipur, very passionate about the artificial hand, he got some money. And that last 2 years, this year we did not do because of Corona. So this is about 3 years back we started Arohan Dil Se.
Okay. Well, I have limited time and I have so many questions. And I also want to talk a little bit about the book. Tell me about 3000 Stitches. How did this book came about? And then we'll go to some audience questions before we end. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I worked with Devadasis for 18 long years. It was not an easy job at all. Thanks to Abhay, otherwise it would not have been possible. The credit should really go to Abhay. I used to get threats from the pimp. They will break my knee. They used to trouble. I will trouble you. Then I took security. I used to take security with me. And many weekends I traveled. And fortunately, they did not know Infosys, and that was a great advantage to me. I told I'm a school teacher. I was a college professor, but I used to tell I'm a school teacher, and they liked it. And then we could change their lives. And then when I stood on the podium, I told, oh God, I don't have any regrets in my life. I served your children very well. And I know the reason why I was born. My bucket list is empty. I don't have any bucket list. You have fulfilled everything. Because I could touch these women, helpless women, and nobody would have bothered about them. Though there are many government schemes, they were not even aware. Now they are taking the money from the scheme. And their children got educated. Some of them became police constable. Most of them became nurses. And they helped me in my work. So I felt, very, very nice. And then I wrote, they gave me a gift actually. They said, Akka means sister in Kannada. That Akka, when you came first time, we threw shoes at you, chappals at you, we threw rotten tomatoes at you. We never liked you because you used to come and sit with us and talk. What can I do? Over a period of time, we realized, how much you have done. We wanted to give you a gift, but we did not know what gift we can give. So each one of us have stitched one line on this quilt and given to you. And there are 3000 stitches on them. Akka, you can use this in winter, it is warm, and in summer, it will be cool. And that is the chapter I wrote, the first chapter, 3000 stitches.
Yes.
And that day I felt completely peaceful inside me, and absolutely nothing will affect me, neither laurels nor abuses, because nothing happens to, because I have been very much in peace with my own work.
Thank you. That's great. Just some questions and comments. Love your book. Somebody, Tejender Sarao says, I love your book. How I taught my grandmother to read. We have even put it in the syllabus of English for class 5. Thank you for writing such simple, heartwarming stories. I have a question. Some don't have much money. Some people don't have much money. How can they give?
Philanthropy does not mean a lot of money. Philanthropy means love the fellow human being. So, love your fellow human being. She may be your maid. He may be your driver. Please help their children's education. It is not the concept of money, it's concept of love. If even that money you do not have, if somebody comes with their difficulties, don't act smart. Say, oh, I never had that. Just give a hug. Don't worry. This too shall pass, you tell them. A good hug and consoling, saying that this too shall pass, somebody with difficulty. A pat on the back, it's a great philanthropy.
Okay. Poonam Singh asks, Sudhaji, what is the one thing you want our young generation to follow in their journey of life? Like if you could tell all the young people in India who are listening. And
have patience. Patience is so difficult nowadays. There is no patience. Have patience. Patience always pays. It makes you more mature. It makes you much more human. It makes you to understand some things you can do, some things you cannot do in life. It tells you your limitation. Have patience and accept reality. Accept reality.
Okay. Great. And Shraddha Raheja asks, which is the cause that you there are a lot of causes you're doing, but which is the cause, I guess, you support the most for charity closest to your heart?
maybe to great extent medical, because my dad was a doctor. I was brought up in a medical hospital environment. My sister is a doctor, so that I know immediately I become compassionate, and that's the reason in COVID I'm working even 7 to 8 hours a day.
That's nice. I think we are.
We are shooting the time, I suppose. Let's.
No. We're not. We are comfortable. But I want to ask one question of my own. Again, slightly different because we've been talking about charity. It's nice to mix it up with some other fun things. One of the things is that I don't think you intended it, but you've been married to someone who's very high profile and very famous, but you've kept your own identity in your own capacity. Was that always something in you? You don't want to be just Mrs. Narayan Murthy, or you wanted to be, or what, did it just kind of happen? Like how did that come about?
No, the fact, of course, I'm Narayan Murthy's wife. It's a reality.
Yeah, you didn't want to be just that. I mean,
no, I always believed from the beginning, which I used to tell my children also. Even now, I tell that everybody should run their own marathon in life. Because there is a shloka in Mahabharata which was taught to me by my grandfather, who was a great Sanskrit scholar. Krishna is respected not because he is Devaki's son or Vasudeva's son, not because he is Rukmini's husband, not because he is Aniruddha's father or Pradyumna's father. Krishnaha Swayam Krishnaha. The quality of Krishna made him is Krishna. Not because you are related to someone, you should get the reflection of that light and you should become famous. You should do your own work, and whatever you get in that, you should live in that. Krishnaha Swayam Krishnaha. So is you should run your own marathon. However small it is, however big it is, but you have to run. That gives you confidence. The confidence comes from your marathon, not because you are somebody's daughter or somebody's wife or somebody's mother. And I believe in it.
Nice. That's really good. Are you personally involved in a lot of CSR projects also of the?
Yeah. What is CSR? Infosys Foundation is CSR only.
Okay, that is their CSR only. Someone just asked, Suraj Bhardwaj asked that, yeah, people are really liking each line. They're quoting your lines, in the comments. Everybody should run their own marathon in life and everything. How has it been for you in this COVID time? 7 months being at home. I don't think you are the kind of person who stays at home like this.
Yeah, my only regret is, see, there is a floods in North Karnataka. Normally, when the flood comes, I used to go, and we used to make a lot of survival kits. Today, I have told somebody to do and someone to go and deliver. Then I'll call them up and show me the photograph. In COVID, I used to go to, otherwise I would have gone to the hospital, check the patients whether they are getting treatment or not. We have invested so much money in the treatment, etc. All those things. Today, I have to request someone to go and do that. That way, I become a little helpless. But I'm extremely busy because it takes so much time of mine, which I could have done in half the time in my office, because all my secretaries will be here, people will be there. It would have been faster, so it takes more time. But one plus in that is I read every day 2 to 3 hours now. I get so much time, and I read a lot in the last 7 months. A lot, which pending books I kept them. I could reduce them.
Okay, that's good. So you're reading a lot. But otherwise, did you reflect? Was there any reflection or like something you learned about something else? What do you want to do when COVID gets over and things are normal?
I want to go back to my office immediately. I want to go to the hospitals and see if the vaccination comes. I was telling I'll stand first in the queue, take the vaccination. Then after 2-3 days, if the doctor says you are now free from corona vaccination, corona will not affect, then I first think I'll go to hospital. I want to see what is happening. We have given 125 ventilators. We have given 24 lakhs masks we have distributed. Millions of liters of sanitizers we have given. And, I want to go and see what is happening there. How are the patients feeling? Is there any treatment is proper or not? My mind is in the hospital actually right now.
Okay. That's okay. I'm sure. And I hope that day comes soon. At least they're talking about the vaccine a lot, and like I'm also waiting.
I love to go to hospital the moment it comes.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm sure it will come. Uh, you said you're very happy. You've kind of done everything in life.
Something
Is
which
there
is
anything
left.
left? Nothing.
Yeah, well, I have one wish actually. I would love it. I may not be able to see in my lifetime, or maybe able to see, depends on the situation. For me, my children means poor children of India. Okay, they should get 3 meals a day, 3 sets of clothes, and education minimum up to 12th standard with communication language and survival skill. That is the one thing which is always desire burning in me. Then only I can call my country, okay, is happy. For me, Bollywood, though I'm a Bollywood buff, okay, it's not Bollywood, it is not the software, it is not the money, it is nothing. It is not my own books or anything. It is this great desire that my children of my country should have 3 meals, 3 sets of clothes, good communication language, and a survival skill. I
Yes,
feel happy on that.
it will happen.
Of course, it will happen. Things have
Yeah.
changed a lot in 70 years, and I'm always optimistic in life. Things are much better. There's no dire poverty in any village, and with the modern education, there is a lot more justice. And I always feel we will always look better days.
Okay. Oh, somebody just said, Kirandi said, my mind is in the hospital. Somebody said it sounds like a title of a nice book.
I never knew. If they have given me this title, maybe I should write my COVID experiences, etc. I suppose.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, what do your children, what is your husband's involvement in your charity work? Do you consult them? Do they say that
No.
you guys discuss where we should give something like that?
No, that is our personal charity we do discuss. Our personal charity which Narayan Murthy handles, we do discuss. My children also, they do their own charity, they do discuss. Like Rohan was very particular about many charity. He does discuss, but I always tell them decision is yours. I can give my opinion, but foundation I do 100% myself, the way I want it. And after I retire, I'm sure I will do Murthy Foundation myself the way I want it.
Okay.
Because I always believe that everybody has a soft spot in their heart for which they should give. Like my husband is the son of a school teacher, so he's extremely sensitive for school teachers. Something should be given, something for the school. He is sensitive for that. So everybody has their, one small blind spot in their heart, and they should do accordingly.
Okay. Well, we have to end, but I'm going to end with a very different question, because we are all away. Otherwise, we would all be having together and eating together.
Yeah.
What are your dinner plans? What are you eating for dinner today? What is your typical dinner like? What do you eat?
I'm a 100% vegetarian. I don't drink tea, coffee, and I eat jawar roti, which I love, or bajra roti, or gehu to I once a day. But bajra or jawar roti with a lot of vegetables. I grow vegetables, so I love my own.
You grow vegetables?
Yeah, I grow vegetables because I'm very fond of farming. So I grow vegetables and lots of vegetables and roti and hardly rice. I'm an unusual South Indian. I don't like rice.
Yeah, what's going on there? Yeah, so you just have the roti, sabzi, that's your...
Yeah, that's enough for me.
And not much rice. How about dahi? Please tell me, Tahir Shahadab.
Of course, I eat only yogurt, but I will not eat rice with that.
Okay, that's lovely. I have always felt you are the grandmother everybody wishes everyone had, I think. And you are a very inspiring lady. And right in that session also, guys, if you want to see another session of hers, it must be somewhere 2016, Bangalore LitFest, Chetan Bhagat, Sudha Murty. And there you were completely an excellent moderator, where you talked about modern feminism and things like that. And today you've just, I think you've blown away the audience. The one thing this virtual thing doesn't have is a standing ovation, which would have 100% happened. And you can just imagine everybody standing in their house. I'll stand.
Please sit down, Chetan. Please remember, Chetan, I'm a teacher. I come from a teaching family, and I'm married to a teacher's son. So teacher is the one who convinces students.
Yeah.
So I do with my listeners.
I think I love you. I'm in love with you.
Thank you. I wish I were a younger, 20 years old girl. Okay, I'm not now. I'm 70.
46, but
Okay. But it is nice, Chetan. It is actually nice to talk to youngster like you.
I'm
Because
youngster.
becomes less than 50 youngster. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
So you bring out a new concept, new questions, new way of thinking, and I always like it.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We wish this could go on and on. And I hope guys who watched it, it was fun for you to watch. Do let us know how you felt. It's virtual. We're trying to make it come alive as much. And thank you for coming in. 197 people right now. That's an auditorium full of people. In fact, when the auditoriums are opening in 15th October, maximum capacity is 200. So this is as big an auditorium in India will get for a long time anyway. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's always nice to talk to you. And God willing, next session I would like to come to Kasauli.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I think we overshot the time, I suppose.
Thank you, Chetan. Thank you, Sudha. I mean, inspiring is a cliche, and I really don't know what to say. I've been looking at the responses. You've blown everybody's mind away, and you've really run the marathon. And I think you've encouraged a lot of people to get off their butts and do something. Now, our next session is going to be in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It's called Staying at Home, Remaking the World. Right? Very topical. And for that, we've got the great and amazing Pico Iyer, who will be in conversation with Russ Lewin and Ankita Mukherjee. So after 15 minutes, we will come back on again. Thank you very much.
Chetan, thank you. I wish you all the best for a new book.
Thank you.
New movie. I'll definitely see it. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.